people have read the manga? Okay. Got a couple people have read the manga and everybody else has watched the anime. Okay, so
that means we get to talk about the differences between the manga and the anime.
Yes, and this is, and let's just start out by clarifying that they're pretty different in certain respects. For one thing, Meili does not exist in the manga. Like, she was an anime-only character. There's some other stuff that's different, and some of it's more questionable, some of it's less questionable.
Did you want help remembering what those things are?
No, I know what they are.
Okay.
We're not going to get into that right now. So basically, I'm going to be talking about this is really just a panel for me to meta about like things about the series that are very important to me.
The door.
I'll get the door. You're a push.
Oh, okay.
It's a push. You're allowed to be in here. It's just a bad door.
It is a bad door.
I was wondering if the folks that came here were waiting. Oh, there's more of you. Goodness gracious. Secretly, they were all waiting for this panel.
And all of a sudden,
I think I ran into the members of Akira or something like that because like I ran it like in
there's a signing going on in the building.
Yeah, no, and there's like they're all like, hey, where are you dressed from? I'm like going through the office. I'm like, oh, we recognize that. That's funny. And then like they get off the elevator, the floor below us, and they're all, and everybody's like, ah! And I was like, I might have just run into celebrities, you know. They were cool. All right, 4 people came. Hooray! It seems like the door's kind of hard to open. So,
do you want to prop it open with something?
yeah.
There's an eraser right by your feet in the corner. That's smarter.
Okay. Yeah, the door just gets stuck.
Nice.
Surprise!
All right. Okay, I'm gonna start again. All right, this is Love Stories of Cardcaptor Sakura. How many people here have read the manga? All right, we have more people that have read the manga. Okay, we still have a few people that have not and watched only the anime. So this is a little bit more manga based, but I will talk a little bit about the anime as well. There's just a few differences. Has everybody watched the anime? Okay, so a few people like me. Well, I've only seen parts of the anime actually. I still haven't watched the whole thing all the way through. I get stuck in the middle of like some of the series early episodes. Anyway, so I'm really just here to talk about the things that make me happy in the series, and that's mostly like the development of some of the better love relationships in the series. Like the whole thing is really like kind of love conquers all. Like whether a relationship is a romantic love or it's a familial love, it is one of the most important things. And so it's like that, and also like the empowerment of Sakura to do whatever she wants to by that love. That makes sense. For her, everything will always be okay, and that's literally her invincible spell. And by virtue of it being okay for her, she makes it okay for everybody that she loves, and that's like the entire central story of Cardcaptor Sakura. It's like
Panel's over. Go home.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're just gonna like kind of run through like various relationships that appear in the series mostly, and I'm just gonna talk about why they're cool or they're not cool, or like we're gonna talk a little bit at the end about Tsubasa and like how things kind of rolled over to Tsubasa. Who here likes Tsubasa? Who here hates Tsubasa? Anybody? I don't like.
You're allowed to hate
Who's slightly vindictive about Tsubasa?
Tsubasa, I have like Tsubasa has an interesting history with me personally, I guess. So I'll get into that later, though. So yeah, all right. So the first love relationship that is introduced in the series is the one where Sakura just thinks Yukito's the greatest. So she has this huge, adorable crush on her brother's best friend. This is like kind of ends up being an interesting situation, of course, because you guys, as you know, he turns out to be Yue, and technically not human at all. A creation of Chloe Reed, and literally created for her happiness. So I don't know if you guys caught this, but it's mentioned in the manga. I don't know if it's mentioned in the anime. That he was literally created to be the love interest for Sakura. Like Chloe created Yue, and then when Yue's persona of Yukito was created, it was with the expectation that that Yukito would fall in love with Sakura, just like Sakura fell in love with him. And then they could be adorable, airheaded idiots together, and
would be able to say no.
Chloe shipped it, okay. Chloe thought that would be great, and then the wrench in the works. There were 2 wrenches in the works. Shaoran's one of them. So
Should I go back?
no, this is fine.
Okay.
Stay there. Okay, so yeah. How many people have watched the dub Cardcaptors? I have not watched it.
I've seen it.
Okay. All right. I watched 1 episode, and it was actually like
So bad.
yeah, it's
Let's get that out on the table now.
one of the main things that it embraced in that series, like as you know, they took literally, I think it's like a 70-episode series, and they cut it down to like 13 episodes, which is crazy. Like you can just imagine how much they had to chop out of the series. One of the main things that they chopped out was anything that was about love. There are no love stories at all in the series anymore. So Shaoran has this huge crush that he develops on Yukito. We never really, later on in the series, it's going to validate it a little bit, but it's kind of interesting. Shaoran has bi problems. He's, super bisexual. He just really, he meets Yukito, and Yukito offers him a pork bun, and it's like he's never experienced kindness in his life, and he just loses it and runs for it. And the thing about Shaoran is that he's actually, he's also magical, as you know. The Lee family's magic is moon-based. So is Yua's magic. Yua's magic is moon-based. And because Yua is basically, the immediate derivative of the most powerful magician on Earth, other than Sakura, his moon power kind of rules over the moon power of the Lee family. So,
Specifically because the Lee family is also related to Chloe.
Yeah. I don't think that's ever really addressed directly, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a factor. You just basically so later on in the series, you find out you as look inside yourself and realize who you truly love, and Shaoran's oh shit, Sakura. But before he realizes that, the thing is he's they give the explanation that he's actually in love with Yua's magic, but Shaoran interprets that as a romantic love. And I think that's really cool. One of the things that I like about Cardcaptor Sakura is that in most Clamp series, all kinds of love, nothing's denigrated. It's if you love somebody, it's valid. Whether that love is healthy or not, it's still valid.
Tokyo Babylon.
That was my Tokyo Babylon.
People's feelings are valid regardless of whether or not they're good or legal. They still exist, and it's still important to acknowledge them, if that makes sense. Not necessarily to fulfill them, but it is important to acknowledge them. Shaoran interprets his feelings towards Yukito as a romantic love, and absolutely has this adorable boy crush on him, and just can't handle being around him. Shaoran handles his feelings by running away from them as fast as he can physically. So when he sees when something happens that he can't deal with, from beginning to the end of the series, he just flees, which is pretty hilarious. But anyway, so you have this hilarious love triangle going on. The only person who is surprised by Shaoran being in love with the boy is Sakura, who is ah! When she finds out for the first time, she just loses it. But she's the only person, and then it's over. She gets really startled, and after that, she's like, "Do you like Yukito-san too?" And Shaoran's like, "Maybe." And it's really cute. But anyway, so eventually he kind of gets over it. But let's move on to So we're now getting into the problematic senpai section, more like problematic sensei section.
There's a lot of that.
There is a lot of that.
Well, we're in that section. There's a reason it's a section.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, this is of course one of the most important relationships that happens, because otherwise Sakura would not exist. If you've only watched the anime, fun fact, Sakura's dad is half of Chloe. That only happens in the manga. He turns out, basically, Chloe, when he died, because he was tired of seeing the future, decided that he wanted to split his power between 2 different reincarnations. So he tried to split it between himself, between 2 reincarnations. One of them was Ariel, and the other one was Fujitaka. But he failed, And so Ariel got all the magic and all of the memories, and Fushitaka got all of the personality that is good. All the good personality points went to this thing. So he's like nice, and he knits, and he's like really sweet, and like smiles all the time like this, and has to wear glasses, and just generally cute. And then Ariel got like all the bad parts, so he was like, nope, forget that, and he just continues on like what he wanted, so that and then gets the power split between himself and Fushitaka. That's like the end of the manga. So that's why Sakura and Toya both have magic, actually, is because actually technically they're the son, Hilary, sort of, the daughter. Anyway, so he falls in love with his student too. Fushitaka teaches Nadeshiko in high school, and Nadeshiko is like, I'm gonna hit that. And she falls on him out of a tree. Then
hit that literally, and then also hit that figure.
And then they fall in love, and the reason why I don't have as much of an issue with Fushitaka is because after he realizes that he's fallen in love with his student, he quits, and he goes on to become a professor at college. He's like, you know what's not okay? Me being in love with a 16-year-old while teaching 16-year-olds. I'm going to stop doing that. So
the best parts of Cloud Reed.
Yes, exactly. He's all the good
A plan
aspects.
that worked for once.
So, like, the thing is that what's sad is, of course, Nadeshiko dies early on from weakness, from having had 2 children. So she's like your typical dead anime mom. She's even got the bow and like stuff going on in the hair. But she carries on as a ghost for a really long time. And Fushitaka doesn't get to see her until the very end of the manga. When he finally gets back, he gets back his magic that he was supposed to have from the beginning. And when he does, he can see his wife again. So that's super cute. Aw, adorable family. Anyway, all right. So that's problematic sensei number 1. Let's move on to problematic sensei number 2.
Oh.
This one's even great here. It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah. This is kind of like the part where I just like talk about like the relationships themselves. We're gonna more into meta stuff later. I'm sorry. I'm just like kind of like okay. So again, like with the validation, the thing is that even in the anime, Rika has a crush on Tarada that Tarada does not return. Okay, so she just crushes on her teacher, and he's like, well, that's adorable, but whatever. Anyway, so in the manga, he totally thinks she's awesome too. He gets minor passing points because he's like, we ain't doing anything until you were like way the hell up there. But that's still a thing that's happening. Please press the space bar. We just why? Why was this necessary? Like, but again, with like it's important to acknowledge the feelings, I guess. But the problem is that they reciprocate in the manga, and that's just not cool. So we're just gonna. I would put a red X over them, but it was late at night when I was doing this, and I didn't actually do it. So next, our last problematic sensei. So I don't know how much they got into this in the anime actually, because I don't really remember. But Kaho briefly dates Toya, and Toya is in middle school. She is a student teacher. So Toya, granted, always looks like he's perpetually 21 years old. Like at the age of 14, he still looked like he was 21 years old. So passing on that, I guess, he does look good, but she knows full well what grade he's in. She's like, let's date. He's like, okay. And that's on you, Kaho. You are the responsible adult in this situation. However, Kaho then later on says that they're actually not meant for each other. The thing about Kaho is that she's fourth harbinger. She's the one that knows, like, she's like basically shows up to say cryptic things, so everybody's like, what happens next to Cardcaptor Sakura? We don't know. Kaho's telling us stuff, kind of, but not actually. And that's her main role, really, other than having the moon belt, which of course was slightly important. But she's in the midst of all of this, like, she also has like the minor ability to see the future, I guess you could say. But her doing so leads to she met somebody else.